僕は今探し始めた水しぶき上げて
Happy Sunday, everyone.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's Sunday.
It's Story Snark this time.
Story Snark this time. It's been a bit since we've actually done this, and it seems like we only really do the one game for Story Snark so far.
Because it's mostly story, and I don't understand it.
Oh, this is entirely story. I mean, we could do a tournament Snark with this, but, like...
It's a weird system. But, don't we have to unlock a bunch of things before that would be really viable?
Well, we don't have all the characters still in this game, and you have to do the storyline to do it, and the storyline isn't based on specific characters, it's multiple characters, which is why we consider it a different thing from Character Snark. So, yeah, welcome back.
Our arbitrary naming
One
systems
Piece
are
Burning
weird.
Blood.
So this is like a yearly endeavor where we go in and I try to remember what the fuck is happening because I don't watch the show. Maybe we should play this
more often than we do because yes, you're super right.
I assume part of the humor is that I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at and that you explain it.
I also noticed, by the way, so we just online unlocked.
Yeah.
You have to unlock online in this game, and online is over here. This thing next to it is also online. This is personal. This is personal. This is personal. This is online, and this can be online or is local.
Okay.
There is so much of this game that is dedicated to like online fighting.
Does this game have a large online community or
what?
It
may have at some point, but this game was released in 2016.
Huh.
Okay. I did notice that if we go into here, and I didn't realize this originally, but there's actually like a character model viewing system, which is kind of cool, and I didn't realize it was here until just recently. When I was like playing around with stuff and I clicked one of the weird options, and I was like, oh crap, this is an option? We could just look at models? Though, you know, like Luffy's
this
not
shading
really
system is weird.
The shading system is a little weird. They're trying to make it look like
it's like it's shaded with Copics or something.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah. So it comes out looking. It's like
interesting the way it works.
Some of the shading in this, it feels like they're trying to do the shading that the anime company did, and then stuff like this feels more like they're trying to do the shading that like the manga has on the colored pages. Like that,
yeah, like the way this is shaded looks like it's supposed to be like a marker did it.
Yeah, because what's his face? I forget the name of the guy who does One Piece, but he does these really beautiful like inked colored pages where it's, I don't know if he's using Copic, but it looks like he's using Copic every time he does it.
The way this guy's head connects to his neck looks wrong.
Yeah,
is that
his
just
face
how the
is
style
really simple and his head is really simple. He's about the only character I think who really has that problem, especially near the end of the series. Like you can see there's something wrong with that, but that's just anime muscle. And then you've got this guy and his isn't so bad, and then Luffy's brother's not so bad, and it's like Luffy's the only character that wound up being like that.
What was that?
Don't worry about it. We haven't gotten to that part yet.
Oh, okay.
There's also a button for creating a pirate crew, and I think this is just presets for the actual like setup fights and stuff like that. And then if you go into like this one, it's just, hey, you want to see all of the different support characters because
do they not get 3D models?
No, they just get these pictures because I don't think they ever actually appear.
Huh.
I don't know. It's weird.
They
but
just
I like
decided
that
to include as many characters as possible.
Yeah, but then these characters don't really have art, and it's just like, okay, some of these are like these are all characters from the actual manga, but it's like I'm kind of sad that we don't get things like this is Luffy's there's a ton of characters that I wish that we did get full on 3D models for, and most of them in here we do not. Some of them I think we do, but most of them we don't.
Was that a bear in a prison suit?
This one? Yeah, that's Beppo.
Okay.
It's not a prison suit. It's actually like a tracksuit.
Sure.
It looks like a prison suit, though. You're super right, yeah. There's some weird characters in One Piece. Don't worry about it, though. Anywho... oh yeah, and then if you go into the collection, it has different stuff going on here. This is literally just for like watching the movies and stuff, and then these are records. That's a Den Den Mushi, by the way. I don't know if we've actually seen them in the storyline. That is the primary means of communication in the One Piece universe.
Okay.
They function as cell phones with potential video options.
Do you stick them to your face or something?
No, they sit down on the thing, and then you usually just push it to turn it on, and then you talk into the shell. And if you want, you can set them up. You could see them there on the bar, projecting things on the screens.
Is there a reason that they communicate through snails?
They just exist that way. They function as radios, telephones, video phones, TVs, like anything like that. It's just snails.
Sure. This setting doesn't want to make sense, so whatever.
It makes more sense than you'd think, because they go out of their way to explain a lot of things, but then some of them are like, hey, this is just a small thing off in the corner. Don't worry about it. And it's really weird, and you're like, can I worry about that, please? I forget where we were the last time, so we're going to have to just run through what happened here. I know that this is just a retelling of the first chapter that we did as Luffy, which is literally just save Ace, but we're playing as Whitebeard for some weird reason. So Admiral Akainu fools Squard into injuring Whitebeard. Whitebeard forgives him and heads into battle. So one of the generals of the military tricked a guy who worked for Whitebeard into injuring Whitebeard, and then Whitebeard forgives him because Whitebeard's supposed to be like the ultimate nice guy in a body that is just going to destroy everything. And that's just how he is.
Okay.
He literally refers to his crew members as his sons.
All right. So what I remember is that it's basically X-Men with fruit.
Yeah, it's X-Men, but instead of a gene, you have to eat a fruit.
But you can't eat two of them.
No, you cannot. You're not allowed to. But sometimes you do get a secondary mutation off of the original fruit. So to speak, if we're talking X-Men logic.
And you're fighting the government, who are also pirates?
No, you're fighting the government, who are military, but they do have pirates who work for them, that are the kings of the sea, or whatever the fuck. I can't remember right now. Shichibukai, I want to say. It's some Japanese thing, don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
you
game
could say that about this whole game.
It's over the fucking shoulder, and I hate it, but it's acceptable. I'm okay with that, to at least some extent. Oh god, I gotta fight all three of these guys now? Fuck. I think I gave up at like a really, really pivotal moment in the story that is really hard to come back to.
Yeah, usually we decide where to stop because you start losing.
Yeah, and I did some warm-ups and shit, but I did not come in here and fight with Whitebeard. I probably should have done some of that. I did a lot of fighting as Luffy, and his combos are very, very different, because he's a very close-range character comparatively.
This game has, like, stats and levels, right?
Kind of. I think the story mode does, yeah.
Right, so you were leveling up a different character in your practice.
Pretty much. I mean, pretty much, yeah.
Well, you got one guy down, and this guy's...
he's close, but I'm not
bars,
gonna...
Right? Or is that
I'm not gonna call it too early, because the third guy is the hardest of the three.
Okay, fair enough.
He is absolutely infuriating. Even... Okay, well, I just died, but...
Oh.
Even fighting him as Luffy, that third guy there... It was absolutely like the worst. He's so strong because the third guy on their list is a long range character who has unbelievably good momentum and like movement. Like he can just all over the stage move around, and he has like a run button and a bunch of other things, and then all of his stuff is like super long range garbage. It's really fucking awful, but it's good at the same time. I mean, I'm not saying it's unbalanced, because honestly I've beaten him before, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, you're probably supposed to have to practice. Yeah,
well, he's also supposed to be a really difficult character to fight, because in canon, he's one of the strongest characters in this world.
So you're in chapter 2, and you're fighting the strongest dudes in the world? I mean,
this
game is a sequel, right?
I mean, kind of... This is also maybe halfway through current One Piece, and it's pretty faithful to like who is fighting and how they are fighting. And it's like Luffy halfway through the series is fighting the strongest dudes in the world. So yeah, it happens. I mean, remember Frieza in Dragon Ball Z was pretty early on.
You know, that's a good point. He was the strongest, and he was like power level 1,000,000 or something.
Yeah.
And everything after him, they stopped counting.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, they kinda just didn't care. I'm just mashing the same button over and over again, by the way. It turns out his normals are like unbelievably good. So long as you can get them as soon as they get up, because this game has on-the-ground protection, so it's like, oh, fuck. See, as soon as he starts flashing like that, I can't touch him until he gets back up. And he can get up whenever the hell he wants to. I'm sorry if this is kind of boring to watch.
It usually comes down to this for tough fighting game bosses, is that you just find your rhythm and you just kind of cheese it.
And see if this actually works.
Yeah.
Oh god, he dodged. Fuck. It looked really cool, too.
The dodge? Yeah?
Yeah, that was a really cool dodge. Fuck. He dodged and I missed my...
you got him.
whiffed my super.
It was still cool looking.
Yeah, his dodge was badass. That was like, I threw the punch and he vanished. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I thought that was part of it.
He turned into a bubble.
I thought that was part of it. That's his thing, is he's a Logia user. He can turn himself into pure light and then just move around at light speed.
Okay. Well, he did that.
And battle, yeah. So Logia are devil fruit users who can turn their bodies into elements, usually. So in the case of that guy, in fact, all three of those guys, they were magma, ice, and light. And they could all turn their bodies into that as whenever the hell they feel like it.
Look at all these characters we haven't gotten to play as getting experience.
I know. Okay, so next part of this.
Clear conditions, win.
Yeah, clear conditions. A lot of these list clear conditions is just win. So this whole area was iced over because that was the only way to turn this into a fighting arena, because there's a town along the outside. So the pirates came in and iced it, and now it's melting because stuff's going on.
And they just didn't want to fight in the town.
Yeah. And then it turns out somebody had a fucking submarine under the ice.
Who did?
As I think it was Whitebeard as his secret getaway plan.
Okay.
And people are like, oh shit. But then one guy just sort of pops up out of nowhere.
Well, why do we need the getaway plan?
Because we needed to grab Ace and then jump in the getaway plan and take off. Was the idea behind it.
Okay.
So the whole fight was supposed to kind of be a distraction. And now they're just dealing with it.
Does no one in anime ever wear their sleeves? I know the answer to that. They don't.
No, nobody ever does. Why would you need sleeves?
How do you get your jacket to stay up that way?
They just get in the way of punching. Double-sided tape.
Fair enough. I was thinking some kind of weird suspenders that's only on the back.
Nah. So Whitebeard is super cool, and his devil fruit power is like sea quakes. That's literally what it's supposed to be. He causes earthquakes, and he does them from a boat because he's a pirate. And as a result, he can basically just cause tsunamis whenever the fuck he feels like it. And on land, if he's fighting, it takes the form of earthquakes, and sometimes this shit you keep seeing me do, where he's breaking the air. Because his is not a Logia, it's just straight power, and his is like he can punch shit and just have it break open like that. Which is useful for like a big-ass pirate, you'd assume, anyway.
Yeah. It seems like it's a logic power of this can crack, so I crack it. It seems like something you could make a semantics argument with a dungeon master with.
Yeah, right? Like, it seems like a D&D power at that point.
It's like, can I use crack on this person's pants? It's like, why would you crack the pants? Take the pants off. Well, roll the dice to crack the pants.
Roll a d20 and make sure. But this character is always rolling 20s no matter what's going on, so he always gets the crack.
And he intimidated the DM early on to get cracking air.
Yeah.
I kind of get it.
That's just the basic, like, form of his main
There are
power.
X-Men powers that work that way.
Yeah, he's just, I don't know, like Darwin?
Yeah, where it's like...
Darwin's powers are just broken and no one cares
Yeah, it's
anymore.
just, he just adapts to things, so you just ask, like, can I adapt to this? Okay, roll your D20, and he gets a 20 every time. Except in the movie...
I love the way you phrased it, because the line in the movie is adapt to this.
Was it?
Yeah, and then
he died in there.
Yeah, it's adapt to this, and then they put, Havoc's, like, little laser ball in his mouth and he explodes. Which is very reminiscent of how he dies originally in the comics, which is not a permanent death at all.
Yeah, he, like, kind of just sits dormant as some cells and some other guy.
He becomes an island.
Does that happen too?
Yeah, they try to blow him up, and then he just vanishes, and then it comes in later on, like, I don't know, like 5 years later, and it's like, oh, he's actually just an island now.
We got another mutant.
Yeah, this guy's probably a half-giant.
Okay, I guess there's
based on his weird anatomy. Yes,
fantasy
and
races.
There are actually races going on.
Yeah. There are those in X-Men.
Yeah, and it's giants are a race, fishmen are a race, humans are a race, and
Inhumans
then
are a race.
within humans there are long legs and long arms, which are referred to as different tribes, but are basically humanoid races that just look like people, but are really
So is a long leg
broken.
like a reverse Hobbit?
Kind of. They're like 9 feet tall, and their bodies are maybe like 3 of those feet.
Oh, okay.
They look really goofy, but they are actively referred to as a race, and they do show up eventually. And I think there's at least one pair of characters later on in the series who are like a long leg with a long arm on top of him. Like they're just doing the piggyback ride thing, and they're collectively like, I don't know, like 15 feet of body. Like it's huge for no reason. But Whitebeard's just a person. He's just a very, very large person. I don't think he's a half giant, which is an actual thing. And giants, by the way, are a thing, and they're absolutely massive.
Did they ever make like a tabletop format of this setting?
I wish. That would be really fun.
They may have done so in Japan. There's actually a lot of those. Like I'm pretty sure there's one for Slayers. There's probably, there probably is one for Pokemon that I just never seen.
So now we've got to fight the magma guy again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like there's probably a lot of tabletop systems that we don't see because they're in other languages, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if there's like, if nothing else, a forum community of people who have just made a game that they play.
I think, by the way, and they're kind of they're addressing this with like the title of this particular part of the chapter, Whitebeard's abilities on land take the form of broken compressed air, so everything he does kind of has this weird gale wind sort of effect on it on top of that. And they were calling this one like magma versus air or something, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of what it is.
You could probably make some arguments for how heat and air interact with each other.
Well, yeah, they just did. He swung around his halberd with the big thing of like air bubble on it. It touched the magma guy and exploded.
I was thinking more like you can insulate yourself from it, but maybe he can't.
You think so anyway.
Maybe he can't make a bubble around himself because his power is cracking.
That one takes it has such a big like build up on it. Oh fuck, he's Logia. He's doing that thing where his body turns into magma and then I can't hit him. So I'm gonna have to go into my fucking weird thing where I can. It's this. Oh, but if he's underground, I can't touch him. Fuck. No. Fuck.
At least it's just one guy. Once you get him down.
No, it's fine. As long as you can distract him long enough, it's fine.
Yeah.
At least we don't have to go through cutscenes every time either.
Oh yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, no, it would totally suck. I'd hate that. What game was it that made us do that a bunch? I don't even remember.
I remember that we had some issues with Blaze Blue, wherein when you didn't have controllers.
I'm already dying. Yeah, I gotta. Sorry, go ahead.
When you didn't have 2 controllers plugged in, it would like interpret your start button as a new person trying to join the game, and you kept having to reset because it kept fucking us up. It happened like once. It was not on. We didn't leave that in the recording.
We left part of it in the recording. I think it was Taukaka.
No, it was Carl.
Was it Carl?
I remember because you were so mad because
maybe
we both
it was
hated
when
Carl
was fighting Tao or something. Because I remember her being a part of it.
I don't know. We did it more than once too.
Yeah, I know that.
In the same recording, it sucked.
Yeah.
It was probably Carl because everything bad happened during that.
A lot of bad shit.
I forgot there's just a giant Oni just sort of dead over there.
That's an actual giant. That's what they look like, and sometimes those breed with humans in this.
You dead.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I wanted to add that in there.
Because
I could tell he was going to combo me to death.
That thing makes babies with things the size of these guys.
Yeah,
or
I think
smaller.
I think that's actually. I want to say it's not Oz. There's a giant named Oz who's like an ancient king who gets awoken out of ice. I think that's Oz's great-grandson or something like that. Giants live to be like 1,000 years old, so Oz is like a primordial individual. Like, he's from ancient times, and he fought, like, cavemen or whatever.
Did cavemen have X-Men powers?
Oh, I don't fucking know, probably. but Oz was dead as fuck when this series started, and what it wound up being was, like, the only time that you ever see anything like that, it's Oz's grandson, who I think shows up in this fight just to help right at the end of it. And is a cool guy because Oz is a massive dick, and it's like really obvious that he's way cooler than his granddad.
I stopped paying attention to words because I started thinking about what if Conan the Barbarian was about this game.
Yeah, I guess maybe a little bit. Conan the Barbarian, though?
I've never like seen a lot of it, but you know, caveman shit. Kind of.
That's not really caveman.
It's Viking shit.
It's Hyborian, which is like alternate history for primordial Earth.
Yeah, but basically, like you said that this guy up here was like a primordial god or whatever.
Yeah. Well, his grandfather was.
Right. So I was just thinking like One Piece, but it's cavemen sounds better than this. I don't understand this very well, so I can't fully imagine it. I'm imagining I'm just imagining like Dragon Ball Z but cavemen, and it's not that different.
A lot of people don't know this, by the way, like immediately, because a lot of people when they think of Conan, they usually think of the movies with like Arnold.
I've never seen the movies. I've just seen a whole bunch of like paintings of like the covers of the books.
Yeah, but like actual Conan the Barbarian is part of the Lovecraft mythos.
Oh, weird.
It's not written by Lovecraft, but it was written by like a really good friend of his, and they agreed to basically share God.
Kind of like how Sherlock Holmes is technically canon with Lupin the Third.
Kind of.
By way of Lupin the First, which is a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, did we win?
I think we did. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
That was just to survive. That wasn't to beat him.
Oh, okay.
But in the cutscene, we're gonna die either way.
Oh, okay, so they didn't want you to beat him.
Oh, I don't think we actually die, but he's basically having a heart attack. There's this big thing where it's like, as the series progresses on, you see almost nothing of Whitebeard, and building up to this, when you finally get to see glances of him, Whitebeard is sitting in a throne with like an oxygen tank and a bunch of machines keeping him alive, and then you get to this fight and he rips shit off and just walks out, and it's like, oh god. And then he winds up getting into this fight, and it's like he's just decimating people, and then he has a heart attack in the middle of the fucking thing.
Is it a downside of... Did he crack his own heart?
No, he's just anxious.
Oh, okay.
He was old when the like quote-unquote previous main character, like Gold Roger, was a young buck or whatever. He's from like 2 generations ago for piracy.
Okay. I mean, it would be funnier if he accidentally used his powers on himself, but
yeah,
okay.
well, I mean, there's an argument to be made. Maybe it has something to do with that too, because his powers you'd think would be really taxing on your body. That's a fish man.
Okay.
Those are humans.
I mean, with this style, sometimes it's hard to tell.
Yeah, Ace is also human. So's the guy standing next to him.
Is that bird just part of his hat?
It's a part of his hat. That's not a real bird.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think it's a real bird anyway.
But you can't be sure?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that bird's not real. That guy, by the way, the one with the bird on his hat, is a devil fruit user who has fruit that I forget what it's called, but it's basically the Buddha fruit.
Okay.
He just creates giant golden Buddhas and can turn himself into one.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So is this an inherently Buddhist setting?
Well, it's Japanese, but Buddha doesn't really seem to have any purpose here.
So, like, would the symbol of a Buddha, like, mean something, like, within the basics of the natural world that makes X fruits?
Technically, their government is a god king government. So, if you really want to look at, like, religion within their world, it would be their ruling family, like their monarchy, is thought of as being above everyone else to the point of being gods.
That guy's dead.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, I vaguely remember seeing that.
Luffy becomes overcome with despair, and then Akainu continues to beat him up. And then Whitebeard steps in, because even though he had that little heart attack, he's like, nah, I ain't gonna die here. Let me fight.
He just kind of pats himself on the chest and keeps going.
He just punches it a little and then goes in. And Fishman saves Luffy. But yeah, Luffy's absolutely destroyed right now.
Remind me why they want to do any of this. What led to these characters fighting?
They were trying to save Ace.
Why?
And then because he was captured by the government and was being executed by...
What did he do?
He's a pirate.
Is that it?
Yeah, he's literally being executed for piracy.
But did he do anything particularly bad?
It's just that he's a pirate. They're trying to make a point out of him. Especially because I think Luffy, prior to this, punched one of the God Emperor guys, basically. Like, one of the ruling family, like I was just saying, God Kings. It was like a God Prince. And they wound up getting Ace in command, and they're like, wait a minute, this is that guy's brother? Oh, we can make a big scene out of this. And then they wind up basically executing a member of, like, Whitebeard's crew, which is a big issue, and it pisses off Luffy, who's like, oh no, that's my brother, don't you dare, and then it just causes, like, a war of the
And that's
pirates.
like the prologue to this entire game.
Yes.
That was a different game or something.
It would. I don't know if there was a game for it, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was, because it's one of those things where it's like, it feels like that should have been a game from the start.
Considering that they should have just started with the first chapter.
I'm betting that they probably did. Although One Piece, if we're talking like the anime, it takes like 60 episodes to get into One Piece.
That's why I didn't. Like, you showed me the first, like, dozen? And I was like, this is fucking boring.
Up until that, it's like, it's building characters. It wants you to know these characters and like these characters.
But I didn't like them.
Yeah, but they grow on you and you start to like them pretty quick.
Okay, so if the idea is that it's supposed to make you like the characters so that later things matter, but... like, that
but it
means
starts out kind of weird, I know.
You can't just say, like, oh, the characters will grow on you later, because I thought that's the point of not having anything happen.
Yeah.
I'm very critical of first episodes of animes.
Megan gives, what is it, like 2 episodes?
It depends.
Because mine's like 4 episodes, and then I say that and you're like, that's insanity.
I will give things 1 episode, and if it looks like it might maybe pick up from there, I'll give it a second.
So while he's fighting to his last breath, just some dude shows up.
Okay.
Just some really snaggle-toothed, black-bearded dude. And his name is Blackbeard.
Like the historical one?
Not quite, but he actually looks a little bit like Edward what is it, Edward Preach? Is that
I don't know. But, like,
they call him Edward Teach.
It just kind of looks like a generic pirate.
Yeah, so the idea is that they did know each other, and Teach was his, like, protege at a point, but then just vanished. And I think he killed a dude before he did, just out of nowhere. So Whitebeard is like, you're the one pirate I will never call my son. And this is Blackbeard. He's just some dude, but his powers are unreal. Like, one of the biggest things that I hate about Blackbeard is that I hate the character's design, but his powers are literally like, hey, do you want to see the strongest man in the world? Here he is. This is literally
Not
the
strong
ongoing...
enough to keep his teeth in his mouth.
Yeah, well, this is literally like the ongoing, oh my god. The ongoing, like, final boss who's not quite ready in One Piece. And he just keeps showing up as that, basically.
Okay, so he's...
And I'm whipping his ass right now, but that's because this is
not
clearly
doing
not...
anything.
Okay, there it goes. I think a lot of people debate on what his power is actually supposed to be, but it's basically like his devil fruit is black holes. And it's literally just, hey, he's gonna break time-space around you. And you're not immediately gonna see it or know what the hell's going on, but he can just absorb people sometimes. And it really messes shit up.
Does it just... Okay, so a black hole doesn't really absorb stuff so much as it crushes
yeah,
it, right?
it tears it apart
physics issues down there.
Physical level, yeah.
There's physics issues where some people will say, like, oh, we don't know what happens in there. It could do some weird shit.
No, we know what happens. It literally it deatomizes things. I think it absorbs the
So it's not like he's, like,
outputs
sucking
the
things up like a
something
Kirby.
He kind of does. He has to touch the ground, and then it makes this huge black orb that just absorbs bodies, shrinks down, and then opens, and there's nothing left.
Does he get their powers?
So he's the only character in the series who has multiple devil fruit powers, and yes.
Oh, okay.
And no one knows. Like, the last time I read One Piece, nobody knew why, and everyone was unnerved and confused about that.
Huh, okay.
But Whitebeard does beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, he didn't seem to do much. Like, the AI was set to let you win.
When he actively fights, he's not the greatest fighter right at the start. He becomes much better as time goes on.
We gotta watch him eat some people first?
Probably. He also has his own crew of guys.
Okay. So anyways...
Yeah.
I give things one episode to show me that they have potential. I'll watch a second if I think it has potential, and if it fails to give me what I'm looking for on the second episode, I ditch it. Josh will try and, like, plead to me to watch boring-ass shit with him for dozens of episodes because he swears it'll get good someday, and I just do not.
Yeah, I know.
I fucking hate it.
Alright. He's got a really cool flag.
It's okay.
This is kind of his face with a cross on it.
This weird fake speedline graphic engine just kind of distracts me.
That was the lighting I was talking about. Like, in-game, they do that, and I think it's supposed to look more like the anime when it does that.
But it slides around weird.
Yeah, but if you take that off, then it looks more like the colored pages of the manga, and it's, like, really weird. And I don't hate it. I do like it as an art direction. I don't think it's terrible. Oh yeah, and he's dropping a big ball there.
Drop the title.
Yeah, well, One Piece is the thing that people have been looking for decades, and he's straight up just telling them, yeah, for most of you, One Piece does not exist. And I think straight up he believes that One Piece doesn't actually exist at all.
Okay.
The One Piece is the thing that Gold Roger left behind, and anybody who finds it becomes the king of pirates, like, automatically. There's a bunch of questions posed about how the fuck that works.
Up close, those textures are weird. Some of the shading and what seems to be the model under it doesn't match the lines.
They're counting off his actual injuries, and the testament to his pride was on his back.
Okay.
There wasn't a single scar of retreat.
What about scars where you're backstabbed? Or scars that go all the way through from the front?
And then he dies, and I think the, oh god, I think the thing that winds up happening that's really, really cool about the way that he dies is he plants his halberd in the ground and dies and stays leaning on it, so he doesn't look like he's dead, and people are confused for a while.
Does it turn into a skeleton that way?
No, I think I think they figure it out relatively fast, but... Oh no, am I wrong? Is that not what happened? Oh. Fuck, who am I thinking of? Who does that?
I don't know. You will someday?
Maybe I will. Yeah, maybe it's me.
Okay. We'll get you a spear to lean on.
I'll get a spear to lean on from my death. I know he dies, like,
Level
straight up.
You learned death. You can only learn 4 moves, though.
Yeah. I'll get rid of poop.
You do when you die.
That one's dead. No, not always. So I guess we're going on to Kainu.
Yeah, we haven't been at it too long,
no,
right?
we haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, we could stop within a couple of these. It's just, I'm confused. Why are we replaying the same exact storyline 3 times?
Wait, are you the bad guy now?
Yeah, because now I'm playing as the bad guy.
Huh. Well, maybe their side of the story is sympathetic.
The Navy announced to the world the public execution of the 2nd Division commander of Whitebeard Pirates, Port Gas D. Ace, by the way.
That's a terrible
Yeah, his
name.
name's not great. His dad's name was Goldie Roger, and they're calling him Port Gas D. Ace, and it's like, oh.
Okay.
There's also, I think there's supposed to be like a really weird meta-governmental thing behind his execution, because he's the son of Gold Roger, and they basically want to wipe Gold Roger's bloodline off of the planet. And they actively, I think, call him Port Gas D. Ace, which is really weird because later on you find out that the government goes out of its way to erase the idea that anybody has the middle name D.
What?
Which, it sounds weird, but in canon, D always stands for, or always is short for, a lost continent that the current government wiped off the face of the earth because they were terrified of the power that they held.
Everyone with a D in their name?
Most of the characters with D in their name don't realize what their middle names are. In fact, I think actively Luffy,
so
whose
no
full name
one
is
else
Monkey
has a
D. Luffy,
does anyone
doesn't know
just
what his
have
middle
a
name
different
is.
does anyone just have like Daniel as their middle name
No,
or something?
because then you'd just be like something Daniel something. You wouldn't be, Monkey Daniel Luffy.
D as a middle initial is also sometimes used as a as kind of a punny little shorthand for the.
Yeah, I know.
So like if
this guy's made of diamonds.
If the people behind Sonic the Hedgehog were slightly more insufferable, they would have called him Sonic D Hedgehog. Like that's a thing people would do.
Isn't he Sonic T Hedgehog though?
I think there's actually some other name, like his middle name's actually like Maurice or something, according to the Archie comics, which aren't canon anymore.
Yeah, I
but
guess
whatever.
That's true.
But like you occasionally get people using the middle initial D as just like a weird shorthand for the. So like this it's a broken system that brings up a lot of questions.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird questions that are kind of, oh god, he really ruined me. The bad guy can't win.
Except when you're fighting him.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird questions that does bring up, but one of the biggest uses of that in the series is Gold Roger is not actively that character's name. His name is Gold D. Roger, and the government, when he gains a bunch of notoriety and becomes well-known amongst pirates, change his name to Gold Roger because they actively don't want people to know that he's a D.
This is some...
It's some weird shit, I know.
This is some Danny Phantom shit.
No, it isn't.
No?
No, in fact, he actively hates it and tries to tell people not to call him that. Like, that's his whole fucking thing. I keep forgetting how grabs work in this, and I'm fucking up royally because of it. I think grabs are almost exclusively long range, and it's real weird. It might not be...
Long-range grabs.
Okay. Luffy has long-range grabs. I don't know if this guy does. That's... like, let me rephrase that.
Okay.
Oh, fuck. Let's see. Is that... That's not a grab. Maybe I just don't have grabs with this guy. Maybe it's a special or something.
I don't know.
Like, he exclusively has... Because grabs are not one of those systems in this game that like, the game just has. It's something else. It's really fucking screwy the way that they do it.
Well, maybe you have like a strength stat versus the other person's size stat, and you gotta roll for grab.
No, it's something else.
Oh,
that's my grab.
Oh.
Yeah, my grab is a special, so it is. It's a command for him. Luffy has it as his long-range guard break. This guy has it as one of his specials, and it's very close range when you do it. But you have armor because you go underground and they can't touch you when you do it.
Oh, okay.
Grabs in this game, there's no active grab insofar as I can tell. There's a block, a dash, normal attack, special attack. Or sorry, normal attack, quote-unquote, unique attack.
Christ, it still just says 2 years ago on everything.
Yeah, no, it's because we're still doing this. We're still trapped in 2 years ago.
We need to play this more than once a year, I guess, because it's been like 3 years ago.
It's the same storyline again. Look at this, now I'm fighting as all 3 of the bad guys.
Versus the good guys, I guess?
I'm gonna guess it's probably against either Luffy or Whitebeard. I kind of hope it's Luffy because there's no reason for me to lose that fight. Oh god.
As a reminder to anyone who forgets, we got this game on accident.
Yeah,
and we play it once a year so that I'm confused, so that I never feel like I understand the world too much.
I really like One Piece, actually, and I think that if you got to know the setting, you'd be more into it too, because it is weird.
Maybe if they presented it better. I'm not really that big on pirate stuff. It's okay.
I don't think I've pointed out yet that there are no continents on this world. Either. It's like a 90% ocean and everything is an island.
Yeah, but Waterworld exists and has an aesthetic that I really like.
And sometimes the islands are underwater.
Sure.
That's where the fishmen come from. The fishmen could literally live anywhere they want.
Again, Waterworld exists and kind of does this in a way that's less confusing.
Well, don't you want pirate fantasy Waterworld?
No, I'm fine with regular Waterworld because it's like apocalyptic punk fantasy with like leather dudes and stuff.
The guys
like,
I'm playing as look like a fucking boy band, like an aging boy band when they're standing next to each other, and I hate it.
So just the new kids on the block. Well, actually, most boy bands are aging now.
Shit? Like, I'm fighting Luffy with part of a mass in his arm, I guess. I doubt he's gonna have that when the fight starts.
No.
It'd be cool if that was like an alternate version of Luffy. It's just Luffy with a piece of wood. Like...
No. Because then they'd have to give him a different moveset, and that's a lot of effort for just one fight.
At least 2 versions of Luffy in this game, and there are costumes I found out eventually.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're exclusively DLC, but I did find out that they exist, so that's pretty cool.
What is DLC for this game like?
Costumes.
Are there
costumes
crossovers?
and some characters? I don't know. I didn't actually look at what it was.
Is this a Shonen Jump property?
Yes, it is.
So you'd think they'd have like a Goku-gi for someone.
You'd think so, yeah. Like that would make sense, right?
Yeah. Or a horrifying Yu-Gi-Oh wig.
I would play for a horrifying... I'd pay for a horrifying Yu-Gi-Oh wig on a character.
Like made out of like strips of felt just kind of glued to each other. Because how else are you gonna do that?
Oh shit, he's ruining me in the last like 5 seconds.
You've got other characters.
I know. No, I changed.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was survive or win.
Well, you.
Oh, it was win.
Did you not win?
No, I didn't win. He survived. He was on red health, but it hadn't had a chance to
Oh,
follow
shit,
all the way
okay.
down.
So you can't just keep going.
Nope,
I didn't
you can't.
notice the timer was important on this one.
Yeah, the timer is 60 seconds in here, and you've got to beat him within that time period.
Okay, fair enough. You'll get it.
I mean, I hope not.
I'd like to point out, because we were talking about how picky I am about anime, that actually, like, I'll watch shitty things that you would not watch with me.
I know.
It's just that it's shitty in ways that are distinct and interesting. It's like, I don't ditch things for being bad, I ditch things for being boring.
I forgot I was a Logia user.
Oh, okay.
I've had an automatic block during combos that's built in this entire time as this character, and I totally forgot.
There you go. 20 seconds left.
Because you could turn yourself into magma with this guy. So you turn into magma when somebody's throwing a punch or got you in a combo, and you can break out of it. So long as they don't also turn into, like, a Haku or a Logia, too.
So is this just where we win? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, this is us beating Luffy. And then he's gonna get hormones from, I
Wait, what?
I think it's one of the Big Face tribe members. Yeah, he gets hormones from one of the Big Face tribe members. They're called like oh god, it's like the
I've probably remarked on this shit before.
Yeah, the phoenix. Fuck? He's a phoenix. He ate the phoenix fruit. He doesn't always look like this. He just has... He could turn his whole body into that, but he can also do just pieces if he wants.
Could he just make his tongue on fire?
I don't know. He wants to, like, if you look at him, you can kind of tell that they're going for a rooster aesthetic, because he has a big long nose, and he's got just the hair right on the top of his head. And then he grows the wings made of fire, and then he can turn, like, most of himself into a bird.
I mean, weird.
You know, he can also just do pieces. Animal fruits are a thing, like animal devil fruits, and they just turn you into a human being with the traits of the animal, and they're all kind of like mixed in. So like sometimes it'll be a
so you could just be a furry if you eat right.
Yes, and there's one character on Luffy's team specifically whose name is Chopper, and Chopper is an actual reindeer who ate the human fruit. So,
these are all things that X-Men has already done.
It's really weird, but yeah. And Chopper's actually a really cool character design, because his whole thing is like, I'm a doctor, and I'm gonna make up, like, medicine that lets me use different abilities within my power set. So he can, like, eat a ball and then turn into, like, a giant human, or eat another one and then turn more into a reindeer or something. Like, he's weird about his stuff, but it's cool. And he's mostly used as a healer. He's not really used much as a fighter in the actual manga. No escape for the brothers.
They're hooked in here.
I was gonna say they're hooked in here.
Yeah, I said it first. I win. So
we've seen this, but now this is us instead. So
is the idea that they have like a sympathetic reason for doing whatever's happening here? Because they're honestly, like, from the perspective we've been given, hasn't really been a good guy or a bad guy so much as just, these guys are already fighting, you're this one now, go.
The Marines are the bad guys. They think that they're doing what's right because they are arresting pirates, and they're executing pirates, but at the same time they're doing it working under the world government, which is inherently kind of evil, to be honest. So it's one of those weird,
He's
like...
got a cage over his eyes. It's just weirdly executed.
Yeah. I mean, he's supposed to, like, have permanent shadow underneath his hat anyway. That is kind of how the character works, but that's a little extreme. It looks weird.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like everybody's got, like, moving hair as part of, like, their personal model.
Or they're covered in ants.
I don't honestly mind it that much. I like it as a stylistic choice, but I do see how it's kind of weird. If it didn't move so much, it
would be better.
I think the idea is you can pause it at any time, and it would actually look fine, because you're not going to see
but it's moving. It's like one thing if you pause, it's another thing if it's a cutscene that's animated. Like, arguably, that's the point of creating the whatever lighting tool lets them do that, is so that they can animate it, but it's like, don't make the lines wiggle constantly.
Yeah, so now I just gotta beat up
I forgot which one you were for a second.
Two chapters trying to save. I need to beat him up now.
Yeah, well, he's been more trouble than he's worth.
Yeah, and magma, for some weird reason, stronger than fire in this setting. They're not considered, like, the same element.
Magma is molten rock.
They're two very different elements, and one of them is significantly bigger than the other one.
One of them is a combination of two elements.
I guess.
So he's got rock power in there, just as a passive
Yeah, it's weird, though.
Oh, presumably, it's that. Oh, no. I don't know if they really do it that way.
I'm not supposed to lose this. Quit it, Ace.
I'll try again.
Yeah, I know. I'm planning. I get money when I lose, so I guess that's fine. I don't actually know what the money's for.
Yeah,
I still don't really know.
Can we buy ourselves some costumes,
Oh, no, he's got guns. I forgot. Quit it. He uses his fire in really weird ways. Like, he has this weird thing where he can just, like you saw it, he's basically just firing, like, little handguns that are actually just his hands.
Oh, okay. You know, he's just doing...
He's doing finger guns, but he's shooting off fire that's part of his body when he does it.
Right. He's Yu Yu Hakushoing his little spirit.
A little bit, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, fuck. I thought that was gonna get him.
Oh, it's pretty close.
Oh, okay. Let's see if we can make this work. Yarna. Okay, there we go.
That was fairly close, yeah.
I like the way he says it. He's so nonchalant when he gets up and he's like, Yarna. So good.
Well, he's dead now.
Yeah, I know he's dead now. Yeah, so the magma burned the fire. And I think they explicitly, I don't know if you caught it there, but Akai, isn't him Akainu, I think? The guy who's magma. Explicitly, they were saying, like, he's gonna eat up the fire. Like, the magma's too intense and it'll just, like, absorb it.
I'm just gonna decide right now his name is Magneto.
I think his name is Akainu. Although he does kind of take up the Magneto role.
Magneto.
Like, at the end of this, he does take up Magneto's role. At the end of this
So he's
fight,
a sympathetic villain, then?
Kind of. At the end of this fight... the Buddha guy gives up and says, I don't want to be the head of the military anymore, and he just walks off, and this guy takes over.
And does he do what he does as, like, a response to victimhood in his past or something?
Potentially. I don't know what his past actually is, but his entire thing is that he is really rough on pirates. He really hates pirates. And that's, like, symbolic of Ace's death. He's got fire punched. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
Like, the guy just put his whole fist through his chest.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a reason that I'm not keeping track of.
Yeah, his name's Akainu. I was right.
Okay.
It's okay. There he is. He gets, like,
Are these
magma
just
fisted.
stills from the actual anime?
It looks like it, right?
Okay, yeah.
It might be. It must be.
I mean,
Which
they
is
could have drawn
weird.
this all out.
Well, I feel like it would have been better if they had been using panels from the manga if they were going to do stuff like that. But
Yeah,
I guess
but
maybe
would
they
that
wanted
be in
color.
color?
Yeah, that's the thing. Generation of Evil.
So does that mean this guy's dad is evil? Is that why he's evil?
Who? The...
Anyone, honestly.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm still not seeing a clear protagonist and antagonist other than
Luffy's
you've said.
the protagonist.
But, like, I haven't seen anyone do good things. I've just seen people fighting in no context. I've just seen people yell at each other.
Yeah. Ooh,
Like,
do we get to fight Jinbei? Oh, fuck. That's pretty cool.
Like,
I didn't expect it. Oh, damn. I didn't expect to get to fight him.
Like, presumably, also, like, I know there's a town around this area. Is it supposed to be like, oh,
it's a
well,
military
people
town.
are in,
I think it's...
Are those
it's,
people in danger and needing a
no,
rescue or something?
No. Again, I think it's a military town. I think that this is... Because this is, I want to say, like a military port. So the idea would be that they are the homes of soldiers.
Okay.
So maybe if there are soldier families around, but I don't actually know if the setting supports the concept of doing stuff like that. Although there is a character explicitly who is one of, like, the high-ranking military officials early on in the series who keeps his son with him on base, and it's addressed as, like, basically being child abuse. Like, and Luffy winds up rescuing the kid, and then the kid becomes a pirate.
Okay. So like there is stakes beyond the personal squabbles of these people and their personal politics.
Maybe he becomes a marine, not a pirate. I'm crazy. Yeah. He becomes a marine, and then he saves a kid from a bad pirate, and he becomes a marine also.
Okay.
But yeah, no, sorry. Either way.
Yeah, like, and none of that is really shown. So it's just they're trying to fight over the life of a guy who I also don't know, like the personal morality of.
Here's the thing, too. Ace kind of came in pretty late in the series. He was not there at the start. So when this actually happened, like, I had some amount of respect for Ace when he died, but it honestly would have been significantly better if Ace had been introduced at the beginning of the series and then found his way to just existing and dying part of the way through. He basically is introduced to us, I would say maybe 2 arcs before this happens, and then vanishes immediately after showing up the first time.
That feels like the payoff isn't very good.
Yeah, later on, you get an entire arc that is Luffy having flashbacks of growing up with Ace, and
cheating.
That makes him better, but it's not until after Ace has died.
It's probably in response to feedback about it not having a lot of impact.
Yeah, there's also the introduction of another character during that, who shows up later on in the series, who is the third brother.
Okay.
And the third brother is somebody who's totally alive, but you think he's dead because he died as a child, and then it turns out that he didn't actually.
And his brain is stuck inside a computer simulation in a submarine.
Yeah. No, he's totally fine though, and I don't remember why it is that he survived so easily, because it was like literally people blow him up, like with a cannon he gets blown up. And it's some... Oh, God, am I fighting 2 guys? Shit, I didn't even notice. It's some weird shit that I never actually got to the part in the series where they explain how he survived. Because I stopped reading One Piece after a little bit. I always want to get back into it, so I'm probably going to do that eventually. Especially because this game makes me remember things. And I'm like, oh, shit. I want to play more, and I want to go back in and read it. So that might happen. I don't know.
Yeah. Just mail Josh all your old mangas.
Oh, no.
Doesn't have to be
don't.
One Piece.
Please don't. That would be way too much. The house would be full of it.
That sounds like a good thing, but okay.
I wouldn't want that.
I used to work in a library, man.
I can get One Piece. It's not that big a deal. There he is. That's him turned into a full phoenix.
Oh, okay. Sure.
This is me punching the phoenix with my fist of magma.
The aesthetic of the Phoenix stuff is pretty good.
The weird fire? Yeah.
Well, and the way he's spiraling up and down as he does it.
Yeah.
Just overall, the thing they're going for works pretty well.
It's like if you're going to be a bird, you got to have some weird bird movements, right? Like...
Yeah, and it works like when you first see this guy coming in and he's got fire for arms, it's like, what the fuck is happening?
It doesn't look quite good, but then he starts fighting
when you
like
see
that,
the follow-through in animation, it kind of like... works fine for the internal logic of whatever the fuck this is.
Yeah, like he's a firebird, and it's like the first time you see him, you're like, is that just some weird harpy thing? What's going on? And then he turns into a full-on phoenix, and it's like, okay, that's like, not bad.
Why has this man's arms been cut off and Baja Blast is spewing out of him?
Oh, now I'm gonna die because I'm thinking about Baja Blast.
It's the right colors!
Oh, goddamn.
Unless I'm remembering my dudes
it's
wrong.
about right. No, you're right. It's basically Baja Blast.
I'm sorry, I ruined your fight with laughter.
This will probably wind up being one of the last fights that we do, by the way.
Yeah, we're running
we're running pretty long, honestly. I feel like maybe we took this a little longer than we needed to, too.
Well, I mean, Baja Blast was a good enough punchline.
Yeah.
We'll just
punchline?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe like after this we'll do the traditional verses at the end.
Oh yeah,
of the
we gotta do that too. Yeah, that's always a thing.
So like we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this just makes me wanna like read X-Men, but that's also a lost fucking cause.
Look, Pirate X-Men is a pretty good version
I'm sorry,
of X-Men.
I'm not that into the pirate thing. There's a lot of things about the ocean that I like, and the pirate aesthetic kind of isn't one of them.
Yeah.
It's just usually dirty and ugly, but not in like a cool way, in just like a regular dirty way. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of cool ways they could like if it's on the ocean, there's so many other ways to do it. Like traditional Polynesian Voyager X-Men would be fucking good.
I mean, when they say pirate, by the way, a lot of the times all that they mean are weird fucking X-Men of the ocean. So you do get some pirates who show up who aren't necessarily like traditional pirates. Like, that guy's a Japanese pirate.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the way there's ways to do it that I think I would like better. Maybe I just don't like the style.
A lot of the ships, too, are like the first few, it's like, oh, it's a pirate ship, a pirate ship, a pirate ship. And then as time goes on, they get more and more complex, and they start turning into, that's just a home with a boat underneath it.
Like, I think part of it is this style just kind of bothers me in a lot of ways.
There's some stuff that I know.
There's a lot of things where they kind of change their mind on style halfway through drawing a character.
A little bit.
Or, like, the way that they do the weird fake speed lines bothers me. Some of the aesthetic choices for, like colors and proportions, it's like, I don't know. I think I'd rather have something else. X-Men usually has like an undercurrent of not cyberpunk, but something going on there that's a little more sci-fi and a little less fantasy usually, and I like that.
So they're not bringing attention to it, but I think if I'm not remembering this wrong, Luffy's mind gets absolutely destroyed when Ace dies, and it causes him to like kind of blank out and like pass out on his feet.
Sure, having someone close to you killed in front of you, yeah.
Yeah, I think, and Jinbei grabs him and then runs. Like, that's his answer, is just grab him and run! But when he does that, I think Luffy also causes, like, 80% of the not pirates, the military guys in this place to just pass out. And I'm struggling to remember if that's what it is, because I assume that if that was indeed the case, that they'd mention it. But I swear to God, I think that's where the Emperor's Haki thing comes in, which is like, it turns out later on that Luffy has some weird, incredibly rare ability where if he gets under enough stress, and he has to learn how to control it later on, but if he gets stressed out enough, he can literally just, with a thought, force everyone around him to pass out. And it's called the Emperor's
That sounds
Haki.
like a bullshit pulled from nowhere.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere, but then later on, it's used to basically get rid of large groups of people without having to actually fight them. So it's like, we're running an army against the Straw Hat Pirates, and then Luffy does that, and half the army dies, and then they're just fighting the strong guys instead. It's like if Goku had to fight Frieza's entire army, and then after the first time, Toriyama went, okay, from now on, Goku can just, like, wipe out 80% of, like, normal people just by looking at him.
I mean, Goku
so that we can only
probably
fight
could.
the strong guys, like, so that we don't have to have him sit around and fight the weak dudes.
To be fair, Goku has a rich and charismatic cast of scrubs under him who will do that for you.
Yeah, I mean, kinda.
And it's more interesting than watching Goku fight.
Luffy does normally too, but during this particular fight, they just chose to not have almost any of them here.
I mean,
they were all off doing other things. This was literally the beginning of a time skip that it starts out and Luffy gets put in the place where he's supposed to be in for his time skip, and then he goes, fuck the time skip, I'm gonna do this myself, and he goes and he gets caught and sent to prison, and then he breaks out of prison and tries to stop his brother from dying, and everybody else has already started their time skip, and he's sitting here raging against the idea of starting the time skip.
Okay.
And then at the end of this, he's forced to do it, so he just starts time skipping after that. It's like, okay, fine.
You say that like that's a thing you can just choose to... I mean, who has time powers here?
Nobody.
Oh, okay.
Right now.
So you're just explaining it like...
I'm explaining it in a metatextual
Yeah,
way,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Everybody else is off training or doing their whatever the shit, and Luffy got sent to the Island of Beautiful Women. It's literally like Amazonia, and Luffy was like, I don't like it here. Let me leave. So he leaves, and in leaving just kind of like winds up like trying to save his brother from execution instead.
Okay.
And then after this, I think his time skip finally starts, and he chooses to have it on like the Island of Deadly Beasts instead.
Sure. You can fight them for training. That sounds like something that would happen in one of these.
Yeah, kind of. It's not quite what goes down, but yeah. He does train them. Like, there's this weird thing where it's like, in order to, the reason they send him there is that they want him to learn how to use his Emperor's Haki better. So they send him there so that he basically has to learn how to, like, control these animals that are constantly raging and are like these giant monsters, just with his willpower alone. And it's a big thing about survival, and he has to teach them to do exactly what he wants, and like all this other stuff. It's really fun. But then there's a time skip, and I think it's like 3 years for One Piece? I don't remember.
Well, we keep having characters show up with 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, maybe it's just 2 years then. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm getting a weird impression of this game because it's been the same scene.
Yeah, it's the same.
Time?
It's the same scene for 3 chapters.
Speaking of which, I thought we were gonna wrap up.
Yeah. That was me wrapping it up. I was like, oh, let me do one more after this, and then I did that one more, and it was like super fast. So I was like, maybe I can just do one more and make it good. Why would you take that path?
Is that just how the plot went?
Oh my god. I guess.
Let's just.
The rain seek can the pirates protect Luffy from Akainu? I don't even think this is the last one in this chapter.
Yeah,
so yeah, we'll call it a day here. So your final thoughts are just you're not into the pirate aesthetic, but you like X-Men?
Yes.
Okay, pick up the controller.
I've got the controller.
Okay. You know, actually, I'm going to check one thing real fast. I'm just going to count these out to myself, because it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Are those optional things off to the side?
Yes.
And did anyone else even get
3,
no.
6, 9, 10. Then we got 3, 6, 7, 8. So there's a very good chance that there's like 2 left after that one.
Yeah, we'll do that.
So yeah, we'll do that
3 months.
next time that we do this. I hope it's not like 3 months. So Josh is going to be on left-hand side more than likely, and Megan's going to be on the right. Except I guess that doesn't really matter with this game, because left and right is subjective because it's all over the shoulder.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go with.
Look at all these characters that we weren't playing as.
I know. Okay. You want to look at some of these characters real quick? Because like we got them. It's Luffy from 2 years ago, Whitebeard. There's another character that we've been playing as. Marco, who's the Phoenix guy. We've got Ace, and then that's a guy from the Big Face tribe, Ivanikov. There's Akainu, Kizaru. Aokiji. This is Luffy not from 2 years ago.
Okay.
This is modern Luffy. This is modern Zoro. Modern Usopp. Modern Sanji. Just if it doesn't say 2 years ago, it's the modern version. It's Nami.
Ugh, what the hell?
Okay, Nami looked better at the beginning of the series. She gets weirder as time goes on, and I think a lot of people think that the guy who does this series slowly forgot how to draw women properly.
Those don't even look like fake boobs.
No, I'm not gonna call him out on it. So many people have done it for so long. It's like at this point, yeah. Just yeah, okay.
Just learn to draw
There's
boobs.
Chopper. There's Robin.
Covering up the boobs so I can't make fun of them?
It's more of the same when you actually see them, yeah. And then Frankie, who's a robot, and Brooke, who's a skeleton. So my team right now is Brooke and Frankie, and I think I'm going to go with some other weirdo. I'm going to go with Usopp.
I'm just going to go random like I always do.
Okay. Well, then if we're going to do that, I'll go with Robin instead, just so that we get some amount of, like, seeing what they look like.
What they being the boobs?
No, they being the female pirates.
Okay.
There you go. Now it's your turn. Press A. Don't set 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
That'll make it really.
Well, I'm just going
Just hit start if you want that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm random. Whatever.
So let's pick because I think we keep doing random for the stage. So let's actually pick a place this time because we've got a few. This is the one we keep seeing.
Let's not do that.
This is also one of the ones that we keep
not
seeing.
the stuff we keep seeing.
We keep seeing that. This is a Colosseum. This is different. We haven't seen this yet. Here's Acacia, which is just a port. On the deck of Luffy's ship.
Just whichever.
A sea forest. Let's do the sea forest, actually. Drum Castle Gates, Shandora Ruins, Albarna Palace, the island, and Port Town. So I want to do... let's fight underwater.
Okay.
I saw this when I was doing some of the practice stuff. when I was just doing random free matches, and it was actually really nice down here.
All right.
And it makes me excited because I know what part of the series this is from, and I'm like, are we actually going to do that part of the series? And it's like, I know we're not, but boy, do I hope we do, because this is like the Fishman city. This place is really nice, and it's got big aqua bubbles for people from the surface if they just want to come down and hang out.
They're talking to each other.
Yeah, I think I picked 3 characters that have dialogue together. I didn't realize.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is great for people who know these characters.
Yeah, and then you just get these, the generic ones because you didn't pick 3 people who could work together. You just
it's just giving me the shit with... I had it set to random!
Yeah, you did.
I had it set to fucking
that's
random.
How it randomized as. Oh.
I don't remember the controls.
Oh, that's
and
fine.
also, I'm like, not the perspective character. I'm just
You're not the
pressing
main character.
buttons.
It's fine.
I'm still doing okay, apparently. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, you know how to play.
Yeah, I do, but I don't know how to play as Brooke. I keep playing as Brooke still, but like he's one of those characters where it's like I'm.
You just wanted to be like the album cover for Appetite for Destruction, so you did it.
A little bit. He is. I don't know if I pointed it out. He's basically just Slash, and it's on purpose. Like it's super intentional. He's supposed to be a cross between Slash and Jimi Hendrix. He plays the guitar, and he's a skeleton. He's immortal, technically, because his fruit is just the immortality fruit. Which, spoilers, it turns you into a skeleton. I mean, it doesn't actively do that, but he dies, and then it turns out that he can't be anything but, you know, a skeleton when he's dead.
This is like the one game I'll never understand, because I'm always like the second player, so it's like, I can't even tell what I'm doing half the time. That's fine. I'm not. I mean.
God, you're kind of ruining Frankie right now. At the very
Well, all
least.
I'm doing is pressing basic buttons. I don't know how to do anything else. Do I quarter circle?
No. It's just basic buttons. There are no
Oh.
motions in this game.
Oh.
Did I not point that out? Like
I don't think you did.
It's okay. So one of the buttons is jump. One of them is block, and if you hold block and press a direction, you do a dash. And then the other 2 are unique and like normal. Unique and unique and normal. It's literally just like you have a button that's different moves depending on the character, and then one that's just generic punches and kicks. And L1 is opening up your specials, and R1 is going into Haki or Logia if you're a Logia user.
Okay. I gotta hold it?
Yeah, you gotta hold it though. And you have a limited amount of time that you can do it. There's a bar up at the top.
Okay. So I can,
Shit, I'm already
sort
getting
of do
ruined.
things.
Okay. Okay, there we go. There's my powers.
What the fuck?
She's got, it's like I forget
She's
if it's
fucking mini
hand
boss
hand?
in the Shadow Temple.
I think it's the hand fruit, and it's literally
Gross.
just she can create multiples of her hands at any time, and they can come out of anything so long as she can see it. So she could just whip out hands, and I swear to God, she probably has it in here as her big finisher, which I haven't gotten a really good chance to use a bunch of them. But her big finisher in the comics is she makes 2 pairs of hands that are like hundreds of feet tall out of many hands, and then slams down on people and just tears them apart with like thousands of hands.
So that's horrifying. Her boobs are a little bit better than the other one.
She is a librarian / archaeologist as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those sound like relatable things.
So you want to be done? Are we done with this?
Yeah, I'm done being confused for the night.
Okay. Final thoughts before we go?
I don't know what this game is.
Yeah, I could see that. All right. I got nothing else. Maybe we'll play this again coming next week or the week after
whenever.
or 3 months from now again. Who knows?
Yeah, it's
It's a fun game. I like it.
It's slightly easier on us because like the AI isn't quite as unforgiving as for example Blaze Blue.
As long as you know what you're doing, the AI in this game is actually fine, and the retries are quick. So
yeah, so not so bad.
Yeah, it's not actually that bad.
Yeah, maybe we'll come back to it.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.